So, we're back on the sofa with two, I don't even know how we can squeeze the fascinating juice out of both of you in the time allotted. But I'm going to give it my best shot.
Squeeze away.
Yeah, good luck.
Now, you're both up here to do comedy
Yes.
separately.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And can I just say, you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. So do you.
What's the lipstick?
I think it's a Kat Von D. It's called Adora. Margaret Cho got it for me years ago as a gift. Wow. Yeah, I just wanted to name drop. That I know.
Yeah, well, you succeeded beyond your wildest expectations. Mine's
Yeah.
from Poundland.
Oh, nice.
That's, which means I don't know what the dollar-pound exchange rate is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's trash. I always wanted to be kind of a boy. Not a boy. I didn't want to be a boy. I wanted to be like a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people of sort of my generation, a lot of us went through that kind of thing, and then you just had to, that kind of feeling.
Sure.
But you had not a big upset moment, but you just went, well, that's obviously not going to happen, and
Yes.
carried on regardless. Mm-hmm. Or I think if you really powerfully felt it, then you were going to be a social outcast.
Yeah, right.
It is a wonderful thing now that you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, up to a point.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But do you still get shtick? Do you still get stick for being who you are and writing things like, they, them, or whatever on a CV or on a program note?
In LA, it's not too much of a problem. Los Angeles is fine.
Nothing in LA is real. When did you...
Well, by the way, yes, I also wanted to be a boy, and I tried my best. I think I would say I tried to be a boy and failed in several different ways. Like, I tried to be not just one kind of guy. I tried to be several iterations of different shitty guys.
Yeah.
So I went through a fedora phase.
Oh.
And I was like, wore a fedora, and I went through that, and then I was like, this fedora, this is gay, and so I grew out a beard, and I got UFC gloves. I have all these pictures online, and I remember there was like a summer where I would watch, like, it was 2010, and I was like, I'm gonna get into football, and I would order a pizza and Jack Daniels. And I would drink Jack Daniels, eat pizza, and then during halftime I would start sobbing, like, I don't like this. So I think what was interesting is it felt like I was like an undercover cop who didn't know that I was an undercover cop.
Okay.
So I think I know more about men more than most cis men do, because I tried to be one so much that I had to think about what being a man was for so long. So I just think that, like, it's given me a perspective of both genders that,
How long was it before you realized you could be you?
I think, it's unfortunate that Caitlyn Jenner was the first person that came, and she disappointed me within the first 5 minutes of her interview, but it was still like, I didn't even know that was a possibility, and then Transparent came out, and I remember my fiance and I, we were watching the pilot of Transparent. This is before I came out, and I was so mad. I was like, shut this shit off. These fucking people, they want to be called she, her. Oh, boo-hoo. And I remember I was like ranting. I was like, in another lifetime, I could have been a woman, but you don't hear me going around saying she, her. And then I remember my fiance was like, if you're a woman, why don't you just be a woman? And I was like, don't you dare say that to me. I don't remember this conversation. I blocked this out of my memory. But my fiance knew before I did. And so it was just kind of like, I think it kind of just kept chipping away at me until one day my life flashed before my eyes and I realized it. It's during my show. I kind of talk about it a little bit. I don't really delve into the gender stuff too much because it's like the one thing people want to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's for me it's no. It's totally fine. But to me it's the least interesting thing about me.
Okay.
I'm kind of an insane person in many other ways than being trans. But I didn't mean to talk about it.
That's fine.
You're obviously fascinating. Give me another way in which you're more.
Well, for instance, right? I've been watching like professional wrestling since I was 3 years old for like 34 years, and I would say that being a professional wrestling fan is a bigger part of my identity than being Asian or trans or anything.
Wow.
Like if it was up to me, I would do a whole hour on professional wrestling, but no one would watch it.
I'm not into professional wrestling.
But that's what I mean. But that's kind of like that to me is more interesting, Or I'm bipolar, and no one wants to hear about that because it's not as interesting of an image. You can't.
Yeah.
Like being trans, there's like an image to it. Like you're overcoming adversity, you're doing all this stuff. But you're bipolar. It's not very interesting to shoot that, right? It's like you're sad
and it can
at home.
be very upsetting for other people.
Yes.
I want to see the sports show.
The wrestling show? I want to see the wrestling
That's
show too. I think people would go to that. Yeah. There's like a huge indie wrestling scene in Los Angeles. I think people would
I would
go.
say I like it that it's fake. I like it because it's fake.
Yeah.
I don't like real sports. I like the fake sports.
No, it's like theater.
Yeah, because they take care of each other.
So when did you become they?
Well, I think in kind of a similar way.
Sorry, that sounded like a.
I'm a swarm of bees.
When did you become they?
No, it's perfectly fine. No, it's I think the weird thing when I first really started realizing was actually years ago. I had a now ex-girlfriend, and she was like really mad that someone else was identifying as they them because she was like, it doesn't make sense. It's a singular person and that's a plural. And then I got into a huge argument with her. I was like, it makes sense. We have gender neutral they. We use it all the time. And I think a couple days later, I was like,
now we come to think of it.
Wait a minute. And I kind of just explored that because for a long time, my clothing options was just like giant hoodie that was ugly and just like sweatpants. Because like what I really wanted to do was wear like nice clothes or like pretty clothes and sometimes like suits and stuff. But I just felt like I wasn't allowed to, so I was like, just be as frumpy as possible. And then I started painting my nails, which unfortunately...
I'm looking at this.
I'm so sorry.
I wasn't going to... That's serious.
This is actually
serious chipping
This
going
is actually
on.
how all non-binary people paint their nails.
Yeah.
This is actually completely accurate.
I just throw it at them.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing tech earlier, so I was like, I don't want to do my nails before tech because I have a whole lot of
I'm not good
stuff.
enough to do your nails for.
I wanted to,
I
and
think
then...
we can all understand where we
Right.
stand now.
Yeah, no, I will go. I'm so
Thank you.
sorry.
So, were you both performers before you decided on your pronouns and sex?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was Robert. I started as a male comedian named Robert, like a 26-year-old virgin male comedian, and then I lost my virginity. I had to throw out all my virgin jokes. And then I came out as a woman. I'm like, well, I got to throw out all my guy jokes now. And so it's just been like every few years I have to throw out all these old jokes because I keep changing my identity like an annoying.
But it keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
I always wonder about that expression. I lost my virginity. No, you gave it away.
I gave it away.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly right.
I mean...
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I lost my virginity, I don't know where it went, when I was 25, so,
God,
yeah.
you're so... Sorry.
I'll be honest, I should have waited a couple more years.
Really?
I was like, ooh, too soon. Yeah, I've been performing since 2007, and originally just really boring kind of dude humor, and then it just got more and more. I don't know what the word is. Woke. I hate saying that.
Please don't say that.
That word's been ruined.
Now I'm definitely.
Can we bleep it? Can we bleep? Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll just hide behind the sofa because it's nice and warm in here, and I really appreciate that.
We could just have. We could redo it. You could use the W word, and I'll smack you across the face. Your choice.
Professional wrestling. Yeah, and then you have to like smack.
Yeah.
You have to smack your hand to make the noise.
When I started comedy, when I was Robert, I wanted to be the biggest edgy edgelord. I listened to shock jock radio. I was more offensive than anyone on the scene. I said some things that I can't even believe I said. And then when I came out, I wanted to overcompensate. So I'm like, I'm going to be the wokest person. I went from saying the wrong thing, now I'm going to say the right thing. And then I went from being like, now I'm more moral, but now I'm joyless. Whereas before, I was funny, but I had no soul.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until like the past few years, I'm like, why don't you just be funny? What is all this shit? You got to be like either the two craziest sides in the world.
It's a great trick if you can pull it off.
Yeah, and then it's like you kind of realize, you can kind of get caught in this culture war where everyone forgets that being funny is the most important thing. And, you forget about the craft of comedy. All of it is misdirection. And so you almost forget that that's where all good humor comes from, is you didn't expect something. Instead of just kind of playing one side or the other.
Yeah, and I mean, unless you are a character comic, the funniest you can be is you at the base of it all.
Yeah.
Because you are unique, no matter how ordinary you might look.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always going to be something about everyone that people will go, you can't believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I'm at now. Like, part of why I was being like an edgelord too was like I was afraid to just be earnest, I guess. And then I went to the woke phase, and now it's like I'm just being painfully earnest on stage, and people seem to enjoy it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And you're. I mean, there is so much kind of wokery around, and I just
I read your article. I'm very aware of your stance on this.
And I don't think most of it is real, because the heart and soul of woke is just being a decent person.
Yeah.
Sure.
So why need to wear it like a badge, like it's something that was just invented 2.5 minutes ago?
Well, I also don't think anti-woke is a real thing either.
No,
I think that it's like, because of this whole culture war going on. I remember, when I was, I had like decades of like bipolar, like suicidal ideations. So when I was doing comedy as this very depressed person, all I had was vulnerability. Mm-hmm. It was completely real because I wanted to die. So all my jokes were about this vulnerability. And then when I stopped being depressed, which I talk about during my show, I was like, I'm never going to be vulnerable again. And then I kind of went like very like, I'm going to show people that nothing bothers me. And I kind of went obsessively into this.
Wow. Okay.
But then like people were like, this is really a funny side of you, but like what happened to the vulnerability? And it was almost like I was afraid to bring that vulnerability back because I didn't want to be seen as this depressed person anymore. And then I realized, why am I letting anyone bully me out of doing what feels right? So now it's like I have the silly side, and I'm putting it back, some of the vulnerability back in that feels genuine to me. And it's like this kind of meshing of my old, like safely bringing back old sides of myself to mesh with my new side, which is why I'm really excited about the hour that I came up with. Because I finally have like, I'm more me than I've ever been. And not listening to everyone argue about this culture stuff that it doesn't really, I don't really care about anymore. I've kind of like got myself out of the discourse.
Yeah, I mean, and that you've gone through, comedically, kind of, development.
Yeah.
Which I think you have to.
Yeah.
Just looking at it from a comedy standpoint, any comic has to go, well, I've tried the character stuff and that just didn't really feel. Now I've gone political. Really shit,
right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So now I'm doing this, and this is my place.
I feel like there's a lot of cults, like cults that aren't obviously cults. And I kind of make this almost like this, I want to be ahead of everybody. If I feel like I'm doing something and then I see other people start doing something similar, I almost go out of my way to do something completely different.
Little rebel.
I just like to, I think surprising people is my favorite thing to do.
So
subverting expectations.
Your show is where, when, called what?
It's called Don't Look at Me. It's at the Box, Assembly George Square.
Love the Box.
The Box, yeah. It's at 1825, I think. I'm really bad at the.
So my 1825 is about 25 past 6.
6:25 p.m. in America. August 2nd to the 27th, and not the 15th. So I'm doing that one. Yeah.
So your show is also like a personal journey, kind of.
Yeah. Throughout the past 10 years, I've had about 7 of my friends die, and part of what I was doing to kind of cope with it was I was spending a lot of time like looking through old messages, and I would take screenshots of like funny things that happened and send to my friends who are still alive. And at a certain point, I was like, I think I kind of want to just like accumulate all of these into a centralized location. And it kind of started just as a thing I was doing for myself to process my grief, and then somehow it just turned into a show. Like I did a short
Like
version.
a celebration.
Like a celebration. Like I did like a short half-hour version in 2019, and then I geared up for an hour-long version. We were going to do a big run of shows in 2020, and then I don't know if you heard, there was a pandemic, and so
What?
Yeah, the pandemic.
everyone at home watching is like, finally they said it. And so I just sat on it for a while, and then last year I was able to start doing it again.
Wow.
And a friend was like, you should do that at Fringe. And I was like, yeah,
That's fantastic.
Fringe, in my mind, Fringe was like a thing I was aware of, but it was always like, that's what other people do. And then a friend hooked me up with a delightful publicist, Mel, that I don't know if you know her, but she's great. Got me a venue, and suddenly I'm here, and I'm like, okay, great.
Wow, but you're feeling good.
I'm feeling good.
You're feeling positive about it.
I'm feeling positive about it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like I'm building an airplane as I'm flying it, but I'm happy to be here.
That's so exciting. That really is wonderful. I mean, there are people here who toured a show for 8 years, and they're now coming in to play a 2,000-seater venue, and that is not the Fringe. This is the Fringe. So, what's it called? Where is it on? And when is it on?
It's my name, Patrick Susmilch, texts from my dead friends, because I did a real one-to-one on that. Maybe it was a little too on the nose, but I've already printed the posters.
Too late, yes.
But yeah, it's called Texts from My Dead Friends. It is at Just the Tonic at the Mash House in the Cask Room.
So great, such a great venue.
I was just there earlier. It's a very sweet venue. I love it. It's got that underground. I mean, it's literally underground. It's got that underground feeling.
It's going to be a real adventure.
It's going to be a
Far
real
from anything
adventure.
else.
And it is at 3:45 p.m. starting on August 3rd through the 27th, but not the 14th.
Wonderful. Wow, these are really exciting.
Did I say my name, by the way? It's Robin Tran. And I do talk about that. It's not a coincidence. It's a coincidence.
Single Tran.
Yes. Yes.
Just the one Tran.
It's just a Vietnamese last name.
Just the one Tran.
Yes, that's right.
That is an actual Vietnamese last name?
It is. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Every day is a school day here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.